You ever stare at your trading screen, watching every candle like it owes you an explanation? Your heart's racing. Your mouse is hovering. You tell yourself, I'm not gonna touch it. I'll wait. But then, a sudden green candle flashes. Your brain lights up like a casino machine. And before you even realize it, you've clicked buy. Sound familiar? Yeah, that was me too. See, when I started trading, I thought being active meant being good. I thought success came from doing more analysis, more trades, more effort. But the truth? The real money came from doing nothing. And I know what you're thinking, doing nothing? How can I make money by sitting still? That makes no sense. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you might completely flip the way you think about trading, discipline, and even success itself. There was a time I couldn't walk away from my screen. I'd check my trades every minute like they were sick children in a hospital bed. Every tick up felt like hope. Every tick down felt like pain. I'd tell myself, just 5 more minutes. Let's see what happens. And every 5 more minutes cost me money. I wasn't trading the market anymore. I was trading my emotions. The market wasn't my opponent. My impatience was. You ever feel that? That itch in your fingers? That need to do something? You think, I can't just sit here. I'll miss the move. But that voice, that restless, fearful voice, is the exact reason most traders stay broke. Because here's the ugly truth no one tells you. The market doesn't reward activity. It rewards clarity. It rewards patience. It rewards those who can sit in silence while everyone else panics. Let me tell you about one specific trade that changed everything for me. I'd been watching this setup on Euro to US dollar. Perfect higher low, strong structure, textbook pullback. I entered. It went up slightly. Then it started to drift sideways. For hours, nothing happened. My brain screamed, this trade's dying. Get out before it reverses. I almost clicked close. But something stopped me. For the first time ever, I asked myself a simple question, is the trade invalid, or am I just impatient? That question, right there, saved me. Because the setup was still valid. The only thing breaking down was me. So I did something I'd never done before. I walked away. No charts. No notifications. No checking every tick. I made a cup of coffee, went for a walk, watched the sunset. When I came back 3 hours later, price had exploded, right in my direction. My take profit hit. And I didn't even see it happen. That day taught me something that changed my career forever. Sometimes, the best move in trading is no move at all. But why does doing nothing work so powerfully? Why does patience feel so uncomfortable, and yet make so much money? It's not about the chart. It's about your brain. And in the next part, I'm going to show you exactly what happens inside your mind when you feel that urge to do something, and how mastering this one moment can make you a completely different trader. You know what's crazy? Your brain hates doing nothing. It freaks out when there's silence, stillness, or uncertainty. In trading, that silence between candles, that waiting period, feels like torture. It feels like you're losing control. But here's the paradox. The moment you try to take control, by forcing trades, chasing candles, reacting to noise, that's when you actually lose control. Because now you're no longer following your plan. You're following your feelings. And feelings are the most expensive thing in trading. Let me show you how your mind tricks you. When you open a trade, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that fires when gamblers pull a slot machine lever. That quick rush feels amazing. And then, as soon as price moves against you, that dopamine drops. Now your brain wants the high back. It whispers, do something, click something, fix it. That's the cycle. That's how the market owns most traders. Not with charts, but with chemistry. You don't lose money because you didn't know where to buy or sell. You lose because you couldn't sit through the boredom. The boredom that separates professionals from amateurs. Think about it. Have you ever closed a winning trade too early, only to watch it hit your original target later? You sit there, angry, asking yourself, why didn't I just wait? That's not lack of skill. That's lack of stillness. Or maybe you've done this. You took a trade, lost it, got emotional, and immediately jumped into another one just to make it back. And of course, that one loss too. That's your ego, trying to repair the wound instead of learning from it. You see, the market doesn't just test your strategy. It tests your nervous system. It's asking you, can you handle discomfort without reacting? Most people can't. They can't stand the silence between opportunities. They can't sit through a drawdown. They can't stay away from the screen when nothing's happening. So they chase. They overtrade. And they confuse motion with progress. But motion is not progress. It's like running on a treadmill. You sweat, you move, but you go nowhere. Here's the funny part. The traders you look up to, the consistent ones, they're not chart magicians. They're masters of waiting. They might take 1 or 2 trades a week. But when they do, they strike like snipers. Precise. Ruthless. Because they know every moment they don't trade is also a trade. They're trading their discipline for clarity. They're saying no to 99 bad setups so they can say yes to 1 perfect one. And that's what separates the amateur who trades for excitement from the professional who trades for freedom. Let me ask you something. When you look at your trading week, how much of it is actual trading and how much of it is reacting? How much of your energy is spent chasing candles instead of executing a plan? If you're honest, it's probably 80% reacting, 20% executing. And that's why you feel exhausted. Because you're trying to fight the market's rhythm instead of syncing with it. Doing nothing isn't laziness. It's alignment. It's saying, I'm not here to control the market. I'm here to follow opportunity when it reveals itself. Here's what's wild. If you study the most successful traders, Paul Tudor Jones, Jesse Livermore, even Warren Buffett, they all say the same thing in different words. The money is made in the waiting. Livermore once said, "It was never my thinking that made me big money. It was always my sitting." That's the essence right there. The moment you stop needing constant action, the market starts working for you. Because you've shifted from ego to observation. You've gone from chasing moves to letting moves come to you. And that shift, that small, invisible change, is what takes you from emotional trader to strategic investor. But how do you actually do it? How do you train yourself to be calm in chaos, to wait while others panic, to sit still when every part of you wants to act? That's the hardest part, and it's where most traders fail. In part 3, I'll show you the exact mental framework and daily routine I used to master the art of doing nothing, how I rewired my brain to see patience as power, not weakness. You'll understand how doing nothing isn't about inaction. It's about mastering your reaction. Here's the truth most traders never realize. Your biggest edge isn't your indicator, or your setup, or your broker. It's your ability to do nothing when you feel like doing something. That's it. That's the superpower. But to build it, you need to rewire the way you see waiting. Right now, your brain connects waiting with losing. It thinks, if I'm not in a trade, I'm falling behind. I'm wasting time. But that's a lie. Waiting is not wasting. Waiting is charging. It's like a lion hiding in the tall grass. From the outside, it looks still, lazy even. But inside, it's locked in, focused, ready. And when the moment comes, it doesn't hesitate. It moves with precision, not panic. That's the mindset you need as a trader. So, how do you build that? Let me give you 3 mental shifts that changed my entire trading life. Shift 1. Replace FOMO with FOPA. You've heard of FOMO, fear of missing out. But I want you to adopt FOPA, fear of poor action. Every time you feel that itch to jump into a setup, pause and ask, am I doing this because it's part of my plan, or because I'm bored? Because boredom is dangerous. Boredom kills accounts. Professionals don't fear missing moves. They fear making mistakes that break discipline. So next time you see price flying and your brain screams, you're missing it. Remind yourself, if it's truly a good setup, the market will give me another chance. That single thought will save you thousands. Shift 2. Reward patience, not profits. This one changed everything for me. Most traders celebrate only when they make money. But that teaches your brain that profits are the goal, not process. So what happens? You start forcing trades to feel that reward. And the cycle repeats. Instead, flip it. Celebrate every time you don't take a bad trade. Every time you followed your plan. Every time you closed your laptop and walked away instead of revenge trading. That's discipline. That's success. When you make patience feel rewarding, your brain stops craving constant action. Try it for a week. Every time you wait for your setup, literally say out loud, "Good job." That's the skill. Sounds silly, but it works. You're training your brain like an athlete trains muscle memory. Shift 3. Detach from outcomes. Here's the harsh truth. You can't control your trades. You can only control your behavior. When you attach your happiness to every green or red candle, you hand your peace of mind to the market. And the market doesn't care about your feelings. Instead, attach your satisfaction to something you can control, execution. Ask yourself, did I follow my plan? Did I wait for confirmation? Did I manage risk? If yes, you already won, no matter what the chart says. Because the trader who wins emotionally will always win financially in the long run. Now, let's make it practical. Here's how I train myself to master doing nothing, step by step. When I sat down to trade, I set 2 kinds of alerts. Chart alerts, to notify me when my setups formed. Mental alerts, to catch emotional impulses. Every time I felt the urge to check the chart too early or force a trade, I'd write one line in my journal, "I feel the need to act because," then I'd finish that sentence honestly. Sometimes it was boredom. Sometimes it was fear. Sometimes it was ego, wanting to make back a loss. Writing it down slowed the emotion. It made it visible. And once you can see your impulse, you can separate from it. That's how you regain power. Here's another trick, the 20-minute rule. Whenever you feel an emotional urge to act, don't fight it. Just delay it. Tell yourself, if this setup is truly good, it'll still be good in 20 minutes. Then walk away. Do something unrelated. Stretch, breathe, take a sip of water. When you come back, 90% of those emotional urges are gone. You'll see the market more clearly. And you'll thank yourself for not reacting like everyone else. Because here's the truth. Most traders lose not because they lack knowledge, but because they lack pause. The pause between seeing and acting is where discipline lives. That's the gap between average and elite. And when you build that pause into your daily trading rhythm, something magical happens. You stop feeling desperate. You stop chasing. You stop trying to make something happen. You start allowing success to come to you. So the next time you feel like doing something, when your hands itch to click, buy, or sell, when your heart races and your mind says, don't just sit there, act. Remember this, you're not getting paid to be busy. You're getting paid to be right. And being right often means being still. But there's one more level to this. Because once you master patience, a new challenge appears, trust. How do you trust your plan when everything looks uncertain? How do you stay still when everyone else is screaming, opportunity? How do you stay confident in the silence? That's where the real transformation happens, and that's what we'll unlock in part 4, the final section. Trust. That's the word no one talks about enough in trading. You can have the best setup, the cleanest chart, and the smartest plan, but if you don't trust yourself, you'll sabotage it every single time. Because here's what really happens when you trade. It's not just you versus the market. It's you versus your mind. The market shows you numbers, patterns, probabilities. But your mind? It throws emotion, fear, greed, and doubt right in your face. And the toughest test isn't whether you can analyze the market. It's whether you can trust your preparation enough to do nothing when it counts. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're holding a trade. You've done everything right. Your entry is clean, your risk is managed, your plan is clear. Then suddenly, price starts to pull back. It's normal market noise, but your brain doesn't see it that way. Your pulse quickens. You zoom in on the 1-minute chart, trying to understand what's happening. That's your fear of losing control kicking in. That's your ego whispering, you can't just sit here and do nothing. But here's the truth, you already did your job. You already made your decision. Now your only job is to let it play out. You see, doing nothing isn't about being passive. It's about protecting the decision you already made when you were calm. When you act out of emotion, you're throwing away all the logic and clarity you had before you entered. You're trading from panic instead of purpose. And if you keep doing that, you'll always stay trapped in the same emotional loop. Make a plan, abandon the plan, regret it, repeat. So what does real trust look like in trading? It looks like clicking set and forget, and actually forgetting. It looks like walking away from the screen knowing your stop loss will do its job. It looks like saying, I've done my part, now the market can do its part. That's emotional maturity. That's the turning point. Because once you start trusting yourself, truly trusting your analysis, your rules, your patience, you stop needing the market to give you reassurance. You stop checking every tick for validation. You stop overmanaging. You stop doubting. And suddenly, everything becomes easier. Think about this for a second. Every great trader you admire has one thing in common: they're calm. Not because they're emotionless robots, but because they've trained themselves to stay centered no matter what happens. They know the market is a storm and they can't control the wind, but they can control their sail. And that sail is built from trust. Trust in the process. Trust in patience. Trust in doing nothing when that's what the situation demands. You ever notice how in life, some of your biggest breakthroughs came when you stopped forcing things? When you let go. When you stopped chasing and started trusting that what's meant for you would find you. Trading's the same. The more you chase profits, the further they run. The moment you stop chasing and start focusing on process, discipline, and emotional control, profits start finding you. Because you're no longer trying to force outcomes. You're flowing with them. That's why the best traders always say, trading is simple, but not easy. It's simple because the rules are clear. It's not easy because your emotions try to break those rules every single day. So here's my challenge to you. Tomorrow, when you sit down to trade, I want you to try something radical. Do less. When you feel that itch to enter early, when you feel that panic rising because price is moving, breathe. When you feel like you need to make something happen, don't. Let the market do the heavy lifting. Your job is to execute, protect, and then detach. And if you can learn that one skill, to stay calm, patient, and still in the middle of chaos, you'll already be ahead of 90% of traders out there. Here's the secret I learned after years of pain, losses, and sleepless nights. The real growth in trading doesn't happen when you win a big trade. It happens when you don't react to a bad one. It happens when you feel the urge to act and instead, you pause. That pause is your power. That pause is your profit. Because the trader who can sit still, who can wait, who can do nothing when everyone else is losing their mind, that trader wins in the long game. So the next time someone tells you that success in trading comes from hustle, grind, or constant action, smile. Because you'll know something they don't. You'll know that the real edge is in the stillness. Doing nothing isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's strength. It's what separates the gambler from the professional, the impulsive from the intentional, the noise from the clarity. And when you learn to master that silence, the market starts to speak to you in ways you've never heard before. Now, if this hit home, if you felt that little spark of truth somewhere inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's the hardest part for you when it comes to doing nothing in trading? I read every comment, and I want to hear your story. And if this video gave you value, if it helped you slow down, breathe, and see trading differently, go ahead and hit that like button. It tells YouTube this message matters. And make sure you subscribe, because in the next video, I'm going to show you how to build a trader's mindset that can turn patience into consistent profit, step by step. So stay tuned, stay calm, and remember, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in trading is nothing at all.